Are you the quantum mechanics?
Yes, we are. The Quantum Mechanics. We're the paranormal podcast for the believers, the doubters, and everyone in between. And actually, that's the last time I'm going to say it this year. Obviously, we're going to say it next year, but last time we're going to say it this year.
It's really gone, well, amongst all the things that British people can't believe, I can't believe it's gone this fast.
I know, incredible. And the other thing that's slightly messy with my head is is almost like, it's like an episode of Doctor Who in a way. So if you're listening to us on your podcast platform, happy Christmas, because it's Christmas Day. But if you're on Patreon, you're probably listening to us about a week before Christmas, because we're about a week ahead at the moment. And obviously we're recording it the week before that, so my brain just can't get round it. But we're going to be Christmassy anyway.
We are going to be Christmassy, yes. I have, well, in a traditional Christmas way, I ate turkey and sausages for lunch. Well,
nice sandwich.
In a sandwich.
Oh, I love a Christmas sandwich.
Just leave the cranberry out, though.
Oh no, I love the cranberry.
Oh, I just hate sweetened meat. I have to scrape it out. Ooh, no. I know it's not very nice, but I did it in the privacy of my own car, so that was okay.
Fair enough, yeah.
The idea with this one is you're all too busy to be too worried about paranormal stuff. Even if you are by yourself, you're probably going to be watching a movie or something. So I thought we'd put together a sort of a history of all of the dark creatures of Christmas.
Oh, nice. It's making me think, it's Christmas time. There is a need to be afraid.
That is brilliant, and I wish I'd thought of it, and I hadn't. All I need now is some sort of George Michael Wham pun, but I can't think of one.
I'm thinking of one. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, you used it in a blood sacrifice.
That was the original version of the song.
That was. It was the record company who got them to change it.
I was probably on the back of the Judas Priest trials and stuff like that. But yeah, it is 25th of December. So I'm sure I don't need to tell you, and I'm not going to go into it, but the reason that it is the 25th of December is when we celebrate Christmas is because in Roman times this was Saturnalia, so it's the winter solstice, popular date. Yeah. If you're going to bring a new religion in, let's use a popular date, and that's what it was. So,
and isn't it part? I know there's lots of different theories, but also it's a celebration of the days getting longer again, right? Because you've got the shortest day of the year. Is that right?
It is. So I think I
guess it depends where you live, but
yeah, I think the shortest day is the 21st.
Right.
But yeah, in the Roman calendar, yeah. But we'll just go, right, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we don't need all that, do we?
We don't need all that. So obviously these aren't dark creatures, but during my my research, I did come across, and it had never even occurred to me to ask what it means. Do you know where Yule comes from?
No.
Right.
I'm sure you've made a log of it, though. Sorry, there's going to be some really bad puns. We've had a sweet sherry.
The term Yule derives from Norse and Germanic traditions, and it's a synonym for Jol or Jolnir, which is another word for Odin.
Oh yes, I knew there was a bit of an Odin connection.
Yeah, the god of war and lord of Valhalla.
Yes,
and in the enormous hall in Norse mythology, it was in Asgard, to which Odin summoned the greatest of warriors. So often Odin was referred to as Jolnir or the Yule One.
Ah, okay.
And so Odin became associated with winter amongst Germanic and Norse people of Northern Europe.
Makes sense.
Who lived much of the year in night and darkness around them.
Which must have felt like war.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And so they associated Odin with the winter solstice, which falls on the 21st of December. Thus, the solstice became associated with Odin and then became known as Yule. So you can see that date.
Right.
Sort
so why
of
that kind of
floats
picks
a little
up.
bit.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. So Nordic, I'm sure we're going to have some paganism coming in a bit more as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But the most famous of the dark creatures, of course, is Krampus.
Of course, yes.
And by the way, I'm compiling this from a number of different sources. So not least History Channel, that was very useful, and a book called, what's it called? 13 Things You Didn't Know About Christmas, which is out of print,
right,
and was printed for about, as far as I can tell, 4 months in 1960.
right.
So I'm confident you won't be able to find it.
That's a good find, though. You managed to find it.
Yeah. Well, I found somebody that had taken a PDF of it.
Right.
Sorry, author.
Yes.
But Krampus, a horned humanoid creature.
Did you mean to say it? No, I was going to.
Anthropomorphic. That's the word.
Part goat.
Well, we'll get on to what he looks like.
Yes, the thing.
You're right. He's devil-like character. He's got cloven hooves for feet.
Yeah.
Horns of a goat, fangs, wild eyes, and a long pointed tongue. And he's usually depicted as being covered in brown or black hair and of greater size than a human, sort of 8 or 9 feet tall.
Right.
He's essentially a demonic creature, which symbolises the onset of the dark nights and the pressures of surviving the cold Alps during winter. So it's kind of a personification of the weather, in a way, in a sort of the weather and the climate.
I don't want to start a Christmas Day debate, but is he a demonic creature or is he a cryptid? Or is he both?
Well, he's a symbol, but I would say if St. Peter, if St. Nicholas, rather, you're Peter, if St. Nicholas, I haven't been drinking either. If St. Nicholas is sort of a saint,
yeah,
and the Krampus is the anti-Santa, then presumably he is somewhat demonic.
Right.
But he's not Christian demonic.
Yes. Although, you may get onto this, now I read somewhere that St. Nicholas and the Krampus used to hang about together.
Well, yeah, that is the legend, yeah. So basically Krampus goes and marks out all the naughty children.
He does a pre-wash.
He does a pre-wash, yeah. And then what's left is there for Santa.
Right.
But that is quite a modern interpretation.
Oh, okay, so it's not traditional.
No,
like that. Because
Krampus is traditionally associated with the 5th or 6th of December.
Yes.
And this is Krampusnacht. It's a festival where Krampus featured really quite heavily, but it comes from, or it appears to come from, the pagan people who inhabited part of the Alps. They're known as the Oratians, and they'd already begun to sort of have these Krampus festivals. And as I say, it's kind of like the opposite of a harvest festival. It's like, here's the plenty at harvest, here's the negative with the Krampus, and you sort of got to survive it. And then as it starts getting mixed in with other bits of mythology and beliefs, he becomes the anti-Santa.
I'm going to get this number wrong, but I remember reading somewhere that Christmas in pagan times, that went on for like 40 days or something, didn't it? It went on for like a month or at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so we get a bit shortchanged now with our Christmas holidays.
Yeah,
really.
We do.
Those pagans knew how to party, didn't they?
They did. Well, by the 11th century, Krampus Night is intertwined with the Feast of St. Nicholas.
Right.
In that part of Europe anyway. And as you probably know, he's an early Christian bishop from the late 3rd and early 4th centuries, and obviously known for gift giving. But he's also the patron saint. We've covered this before, but he looks after sort of all sorts of people, including prostitutes. Which,
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to do something with all that time off, hasn't he?
Well, we're going back to your witchcraft. But there's an interesting reason that I didn't mention there when you say, is he that sort of, when he was associated with St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas is believed to have died on the 6th of December, and his feast day then becomes associated with Krampusnacht.
Right.
Because that's the same day.
Right.
So, obviously, with the patchiness of the records, this document I'm reading here, so it's difficult to assess how widely Krampus featured in the folklore of the Alpine region between 5th and 10th centuries, or how extensively Krampusnacht was celebrated during, as he said, this shadowy period of history. We know this, we have a difficulty with that part of history.
It's interesting, though. So if you followed that through, what could be a solution of the connection between St. Nicholas and the Krampus is just the fact they went, oh, well, look, we've got this party going on. We might as well make it a dual party for both, sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you get these... so the description I've got of these sorts of parties that go on is there's people who would dress up as Krampuses, Krampi, if you like, and they would do a Krampus run. So the Krampuses would dispense lumps of coal and bundles of birch to the bad children.
Yeah.
And a figure representing St. Nicholas would then come along and dispense the presents to the good children. So this is part of this festival, basically.
Okay, so it's almost that's a kind of metaphor for good and evil in a way.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the whole thing is in a way. Yeah.
But these days, it's a little bit more of a comfortable affair. So if you do want to celebrate Krampus on Christmas Eve, it's become tradition. And that's the great thing about Christmas. You can sort of invent all sorts of traditions around it. You leave him some schnapps. So if you leave St. Nicholas, I don't know, some brandy or some whiskey, you leave schnapps for the Krampus.
For the Krampus, because he's a bit more hardcore.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And is the running still involved? Or do we have to do the running anymore?
So I do believe they do it in some parts, but this is not wide. Although, I will say, in Clintonville in Ohio, I found out there is a Krampus parade. That would have been held on the 5th of December. So if you went to Krampus parade, let us know.
Right. So it's almost a darker version of Elf on the Shelf now. Is that our replacement?
Yeah. Devil on the...
Yeah.
I don't know where he says...
Devil on the hooves.
Yeah. Well, of course, when we covered the story of the cloven hooves, or the horseshoes, I should say, not cloven.
Yeah.
Going, and they thought it was the devil. Some people did say it was the Krampus. But it was obviously disregarded because the devil is a lot more real than the Krampus to believers. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But there's this whole, what you were saying there about celebrating Christmas over a wider period. December the 13th also marks the festival of St. Lucia. And it's a celebration for... there is also a celebration for her lesser-known counterpart, the witch Lucy. That's Lussi.
Oh, never heard of that.
No. So the Christian feast... I hadn't either. So a little bit like this is a time of darkness. There's this idea... You know how we have Halloween? It's kind of like... Again, it sort of feels like people are saying the veil is thin. That's why we sort of celebrate these things, which is... a little bit weird. But the Christian feast day of St. Lucia is celebrated, songs, procession, and there's a young girl selected to play the role of Lucia. She wears a white robe with a red sash and a crown of lingonberry greens and 7 candles. I've even got a picture of her with her lingonberry and 7 candles. And I did think, for anyone that grew up in the UK, you'd be making that on Blue Peter right now, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah.
In 1979, you'd definitely be making that.
That would involve a coat hanger.
Yes. And also not putting anything on your hair, because that is definitely going to catch fire.
So sorry, that character is basically a witch, is it?
No, so that's the saint. That's the saint.
Right.
That's Lucia. And we'll come on to like the darker side of this bit in a moment. So she's at the centre of a procession of girls, and they're all clothed, white robes, red sashes, all symbols of purity, and they sing hymns. They carry a cake called a luskatter. However, the fairies are also out on their wild hunt, called Orchoria, I believe. Right. And tradition holds that if during the procession the girls hear the sound of the wild hunt behind them, they should toss one of the cakes over their shoulder to appease the elves.
I love
Isn't that lovely?
That is sweet. And that's interesting as well, because that's almost, there's also that theme of gift giving there, isn't there? I mean, it's to ward them off, but it's give them a gift and they'll go away.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we see this all the time, this sort of idea of leaving gifts out for elves and things.
The schnapps for and all that, yeah.
We covered leaving chocolate out for wood spirits.
Yep.
But Lucy is a Nordic sorceress. Not a lot is known about her, but she is the initiator of this wild ride, you see, this wild hunt.
Right.
And she rides through the air with Odin and their followers. And their followers are this troop of elves, fairies, nymphs. Oh. And they are called the Luciferda.
Wow.
They're a band of troublemaking nuisances out on the hunt to cause chaos and frighten humans. So again, we've got this dark and the light. We've got the yin and the yang.
Yeah. I didn't know that connection between the gods, the kind of Nordic gods and elves. It makes complete sense when you say it, but it's the first time I've heard them almost travelling together, leading the way.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, so that wild hunt, I've always been fascinated with the wild hunt because it's something that has sort of been used in, I suppose, sort of modern fairy tales or stuff, but we don't sort of celebrate it properly, of course.
Hell of a sight to see if you could see it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is this, my mind's going to, is this a kind of precursor to Santa on his sleigh and reindeer and stuff like that? Because that sounds very similar.
It does sound very similar, and possibly, I mean, that isn't the suggestion here.
Right.
But I can imagine so. I mean, so this, what is interesting is that you've got this period between Lusitania and Yule, when you've got these trolls, demons, spirits of the dead are swirling around outside. It says here, enjoying the darkness. And they're particularly active on Lucy night. Naughty children are advised to hide away. And according to some traditions, and this is what I was saying about, it's interesting, Lucy herself could come down the chimney and abduct children who have been bad.
Wow.
So we got chimneys in there as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So beware.
Yeah.
Right, this is one of my favourites, and I have been trying to learn how to say this, but now we get on to the Greek goblins. From Christmas Day until the Feast of the Epiphany, on January the 6th, Greeks watch over their homes especially carefully, looking for moved items or stolen Christmas goodies.
Yes.
That's because, according to Greek folklore, a group of tiny goblins called the Kalakatroi. I've said that wrong, but I've asked you heard me ask Google how to say it.
Yeah,
that's the best I can do.
I like it. It sounds good, though. I think you just front it out. It's Christmas. Everybody's had a tipple. They're fine.
They come out during the holidays hoping to wreak havoc upon mankind. So these goblins are small, dark, hairy creatures with goat-like legs. Again, a little bit like the Krampus. They love a goat. But more recent images of them, they resemble more like standard human-like trolls or goblins. They've always had a negative connotation, but now they're considered more trickster spirits. Right. So they're not going to come and kill you, but they'll steal your underpants or
mischief.
Yeah,
more mischief making.
But they also come from ancient pagan traditions and have been adapted to fit with Christianity. According to this document, debate regarding the exact source of these creatures ranges from ancient Greek death spirits to small bugs associated with evil spirits which were known to destroy crops. That, to me, makes a lot of sense because the darkness, the destruction piece. I mean, these people are living not hand to mouth, but they're living crop to mouth. And if you lose a crop, when winter comes, you really are stuffed if you haven't been able to find an alternative food source.
Which I guess in pagan terms is almost the purpose of Christmas, isn't it? Everything you've been storing, you can celebrate. If you've had a better crop, you can have a better celebration. So you can see how these little elves or bugs would fit into that concept. If you've had a bad harvest that year, you know, you've been cursed by the bugs. Yeah,
that's right. And there is some discussion in this book which likens like the Krampus and coming around getting rid of the bad children, because the bad children are like a plague on your house as well.
Right.
And unfortunately, it isn't just bad children, it's children that aren't necessarily desirable, like maybe disabled children and stuff like that. So that's sort of why that's why it's been turned around a little bit, because that's obviously an obnoxious part of the tale.
Yes, which also ties into theories on the changeling as well.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But of course, now in the Greek Orthodox Church, these small elves are embraced because Jesus is the light, and so they are the dark. So again, it's the good and the evil, and in this case, Jesus' sign comes through. So rather than a sorcerer or something, it's Jesus doing that work.
Yeah, that's interesting as well, isn't it? I'd never thought about that. I get the kind of church wanting to suppress this stuff, but you don't think of almost embracing it to demystify it, or at least it's almost appropriating it, isn't it? To kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? To almost quell the pagan instinct, we'll appropriate some of these pagan things.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's, you see, people didn't want to stop believing in these things, but they rather liked the new religion. So it's interesting that what they were originally supposed to live under the surface of the earth because they were trying to cut down the tree of life.
Right.
So that obviously doesn't come into any biblical representations, but it makes sense to, like, if you just take that bit out and then you say, well, Jesus is the light and they're the dark, that sort of, you don't need to change the story too much.
Yeah, makes sense.
I've said that they are hairy and sort of humanoid, but apparently they stink.
Really?
They really stink.
Is it with all these things stinking? It's like Sasquatch. Well, the Sasquatch stinks.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he smells like a. That's why they call him a skunk ape in some parts. Yeah. Yes, the Calicazoi. The Calicensori. That's how I'm going to say it. They like eating insects, snakes, mice, rotten fruit, and cause your food to spoil.
Right.
They harass people. These are the bad things they do. Destroy furniture, steal and misplace items. How often have we come across misplaced items as a something that an entity does?
Well, we talked about that a bit last week, didn't we, with the witches? That, you know, there's a whole genre of spells to find lost or misplaced or stolen items. So
yeah.
The significance of it is not lost, is it?
And if you're walking home alone at night, they might do something else to you, which we have covered in a previous episode. They'll grab your arm and force you to dance.
Right.
Until you pass out.
Wow.
That's the ultimate evil, isn't it?
That is the ultimate evil. It's like being at a wedding.
Oh my God, it is. Or maybe there's a cover band.
It's like being at a wedding when Dancing Queen comes on. No, I don't want to. I really don't.
I've got a Calicadroy who's forcing me. And they have a boss who they call their mother. And she's the one who gives them orders for who to target. And so to protect yourself, you leave food on the roof and on doorsteps, similar to how we do during Trick or Treat, really.
Yes, I remember we covered something like that. And also something to vaguely remember putting something on your door, don't you? Yes, yeah.
That will stop them bothering you. And
there's a lot to remember, isn't there?
But it's okay, because it's only the 12 days until the Epiphany.
All right.
And then they go away again. So you're only in danger
right.
for the 12 days.
Okay.
So for the 12 days of Christmas, you've got to watch out for these fellas.
Right.
Let us move on to another word that I won't be able to pronounce, but Frau Posta,
nice.
Also known as Bushta or Bertha, and she's also called, and this I think I can pronounce, Spinster Ben Frau, which I think is like
unmarried wife.
I think so, yeah. Or spinning room lady, I believe, could be that.
Oh.
She's depicted with a beaked nose made of iron.
Iron?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dressed in rags and carrying a cane, and generally resembles a decrepit old crone.
Right.
Legend has it that you'd better get all of your flax spun by 12th night. Again, 12th night.
Right.
For when the Christmas season was over, it would be time to set up the big upright loom, at which time you must have enough thread to wrap it and start your weaving. Huh. And what Frau Bushter's punishment for those lazy ladies who haven't finished all their weaving? In Germany, Austria and Switzerland, there were numerous tales of Frau Bushter trampling and even setting fire to half-spun fibres. That's angry, isn't it?
Just vindictive, isn't it?
That is vindictive. You didn't have time to do all your
a bit
spinning.
Behind. I haven't done my spinning. You're going to set it on fire just to annoy me. I'm getting pictures of, you know, the Wicked Witch in Snow White and Rumpelstiltskin. That's a bit Rumpelstiltskin as well, isn't it? With kind of, yeah.
I mean, it gets worse.
Okay.
You're supposed...
Worse than setting fire to my thread.
Well, so if you've got a messy house,
yeah,
she takes real offence.
Oh, God.
If you haven't left her a bowl of porridge out, she takes even more offence. So she'll set fire to your yarns, But if you've got a messy house and you haven't left porridge out...
Ben, I've got to take a list here. So I've got to leave the whiskey out for Santa. Got to leave the schnapps out for Krampus. I've got to get a bowl of porridge for this one.
Yeah, you've got to put...
stuff outside for the Greek ones.
On the roof.
On the roof?
On the roof.
Got to get on the roof.
Roof and the doorsteps for your little goblins.
Yeah.
But you really want to put the porridge out for this one because she'll come into your bedroom, disembowel you, and replace your guts with rocks and straw.
Get the porridge on.
But she only goes after women.
Oh.
So warn Emma.
Yeah, get the porridge on, Ems.
She's not very nice.
It's basically an extortion racket, isn't it? All these dark Christmases.
It's such an extortion
like the
racket.
mafia.
Well, there's one of the creatures which I was reading about, which it's you have to have new clothes, and if you don't have new clothes, they'll steal your children.
It's incredible.
I know, and you can't do it on purpose either, because apparently it sees through that trick.
The Prodicus.
The Prodicus. Yeah.
The Gucci Goblin.
Now, you probably... I think everybody listening will know this one. I vaguely knew this one, but I didn't know the details. Do you know about Iceland's 13 Yule lads?
No.
So in Iceland, children get a visit from not one, but 13 Yule lads.
Right.
Who, it says here, mischievous little fellows who take turns mischievous little fellows.
Yeah, I love that.
Who take turns visiting children on the 13 nights leading up to Christmas. Each night, beginning on December the 12th, children place a shoe on the windowsill.
Oh, well, now I've got to get a bloody shoe.
If they have been good, they receive candy.
Right.
If not, the Yule lad fills the shoe with rotting potatoes.
Okay, that could be worse. But now I've got to bring a shoe into it.
You have got to bring a shoe into it.
Right, so I've got my whiskey, I've got my schnapps, I've got me porridge, I've got to get a shoe, and then I've got to get on the roof and get out the front door for the Greek ones. Anything particular they like, or can it be anything?
No, the Greek ones like rotten fruit, mice, earthworms, that sort of thing.
Oh God!
You can probably just give them some out of date yogurt.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering with the porridge one whether like a bit of leftover bread sauce. Well, that's just going to annoy them, though, isn't it?
If you want to annoy a woman who will come in,
that's the one that
and
disembowels you, right?
And you'll wake up next to Emma, who has just been replaced by rocks and stones.
Okay, all right.
I think you better get your oats out.
Yeah, okay. The one that goes in the microwave for 2 minutes, would that be all right? Or
I think that's fine.
That's fine. Yes.
Yeah.
Salt or sugar, though, or honey? Like, what do they like?
Leave those bits out for her. She can
bit of raisins.
She can do her. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe
sliced banana.
Bit of chocolate.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay.
That's probably what I'd leave just to be on the safe side.
Right. I'm getting a bit panicky about all this now.
Well, the Yule lads used to be a lot creepier. Apparently, in 1746, Iceland officially banned parents from telling their children scary stories about the Yule lads.
Oh, wow.
They're just harmless now.
So sorry, this is, you said 13 nights, did you, or 12 nights?
13, because there's 13 Yule lads.
So you put your shoe out overnight.
On the 12th.
On the 12th, and then do you have to keep putting it out every night?
Good question. I think you do.
Oh, that's a bit of an effort.
So, as with all of these things, it was waiting for somebody to codify who the 13 Yule lads were, because in the past, people would sort of make up their own stories. It was basically a way... It's like the children saying about the bogeyman coming to get you. It's that sort of thing.
And do the kids have to behave, or that's not really part of it? It didn't seem part of it.
They do have to behave, but each of the lads has a particular penchant for something.
Right. Okay.
And it was codified
in
a poem by, now, Johannes Kotlum, I think is how you say his name.
Okay.
So we've got the 13 names, which I'm going to struggle with, but I can tell you what they do.
Could you try and do them in a high Sigur Rós voice?
In a what voice?
Sigur Rós, the band, the Icelandic.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like that, you've got to kind of do them.
Oh, God, I don't think I can.
All right.
Okay, well, let's see. Hang on. Right. Stetjaslaw.
That's good.
Stechaslo.
Yep.
It means sheep coat clod.
Okay.
He harasses sheep, but is instead impaired by stiff peg legs.
Right. Okay. He's got peg legs, so they're not going to wear the shoes, so it doesn't really matter, does it? That's fine.
No. But he's going to harass your sheep.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's try this then. There's Joe Jaguar. Joe Jaguar. That means gully gawk. He hides in gullies, waiting for a chance to sneak into cowsheds and steal milk.
Oh, this is brilliant, isn't it? I love Iceland so much.
You'll like this one.
Go on.
Stuffer. He's stubby.
Right.
Unusually short. He steals pans to eat the crust left on them.
I'm just thinking this is the worst Rosetta Stone tape ever. Stipler.
Please don't learn Icelandic off me.
Yeah.
This one might be my favourite. I don't even know. I think it's Vutslicka.
Oh. Vutslicka.
And can you guess what he does?
Does he lick feet?
No, he licks spoons.
Oh, so the liquor part is right. Okay.
And there's a particular type of wooden spoon with a long handle,
Right.
which forms the first part of his name, which I'm unclear about how to pronounce. But he likes to lick it and is extremely thin due to malnutrition.
Oh.
I don't know why he's malnourished and the guy that licks the pans isn't, but...
Yeah. And, well, I'm going to give him a little bit extra in his shoe this year.
Oh. Then there is Askaklir, who is the bowl licker.
Askislir.
He hides under beds waiting for someone to put down their bowl with a lid, which they use as their dishes. So it's not like what you think. It's not a bedpan.
Right. Okay.
It's what they're eating.
Yeah.
And then he steals that.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got Herdeslicker.
Herdeslicker. Is he another licker?
No, he's a door slammer.
Okay.
He slams doors at night.
Oh.
Then there's Skiergrammer.
Skiergrammer.
That's the skier gobbler. So you know that Icelandic yogurt that we get advertised on telly, skier?
Yeah. That's where he gets the name from.
Yeah. He likes that. He
likes
just likes
yogurt.
it. He just likes yogurt. That's his thing.
Put some yogurt on the list.
People are getting very bored of me reading out all these. I just take so we got sausage
get to 'em
swiper.
quick. Yeah.
Sausage swiper hides in the rafters and snatches sausages.
Yeah.
The window peeper peeks in through windows
Yeah.
in search of things to steal.
He's cancelled.
The doorway sniffer has an abnormally large nose and an acute sense of smell.
Right.
And he's looking for a particular sort of bread.
All right.
We got meat hook. He uses a hook to steal meat.
Yeah. Does what it says on the tin.
And there is candle stealer, who steals candles from children, which obviously isn't a particularly nice thing to do.
Does that mean in modern times he steals torches?
Well, no, because the reason that he was stealing the candles is because they were made out of edible...
Oh, like beeswax.
Well, no, what's the... it's just gone straight out of my head and I went past that page. Tallow.
Okay, yeah.
They were made of tallow, and therefore, that they were all obsessed with eating stuff.
Yeah.
Apart from the door slammer, who doesn't seem to care.
Right. Okay.
He's just slamming stuff.
Slamming doors.
He's just
That's
slamming
his
doors.
thing.
Yeah.
I love that though. That's brilliant. God, I love those kind of that Icelandic tradition, and I always remember from one of the episodes we did. There is a like a green belt where no one can build on because that's where like the fairies and the elves are supposed to live.
Oh yeah, that's true. I've been there to Iceland, that is, and there's places where you can't walk because the little people, or they don't call them the little people, they call them the invisible people. I think they call them. Somebody from Iceland will correct me, but yeah, you can't go there because that's you'd be stepping on their home or whatever, which I think is lovely.
And anyone out in Iceland, we do apologise for our pronunciation and hope you're all right after the recent volcanic activity, which was just scary. I think you must have, when you went, you must have gone to the Blue Lagoon. That was affected, wasn't it?
Yes,
sad.
it was. The Blue Lagoon is one of the most incredible places I've ever been to. Have you been? Have you?
Yeah, amazing.
It's like the fact that I was sitting in there and my hair was going crispy with the ice.
Yeah.
It was.
And they've got that bit, I'm assuming, hopefully it's all still intact, but they had a bit roped off, which is the really hot bit, which only the hardcore could take.
Yes.
You could tell the locals were going for that. All us kind of tourists were like getting about within 20 feet of it, going, oh, it's too hot.
When I was there was a bunch of school kids from Birmingham who were daring each other to go into it, which rather destroyed the mood a little, but...
yeah. Oh, I'm going to just relax, yeah.
But look, I will leave you with a nice one. So I found this lovely little tale, and it goes, well, the author, this is what brought me into it. It's that time of year again, and high time to talk about cats. Cats and Christmas seem like a couple perpetually entangled in a love-hate relationship. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't think cats and Christmas went together at all. Yeah. On one hand, there is almost nothing more adorable than having a cat lie cosily either on your lap or next to you on the hearth, with a brightly coloured Christmas tree standing by. On the other hand, cats simply cannot stay cool or aloof when a tree suddenly appears in the house. So I was like, what the hell? Where is this taking me?
Yeah,
it's taking me to the Christmas cat of Iceland.
Oh, we're back in Iceland.
Iceland has a Christmas cat.
Oh, brilliant.
According to legends, the Christmas or Yule cat is a monstrously huge black cat that only appears at Christmas Eve, when little children are sound asleep, dreaming of the glitter of the Christmas tree and the marvellous gifts that lie beneath it. I'm using this author's poetic license.
Right, okay.
Unfortunately, if there are no colourful, this is what I was telling you, new clothes amongst those gifts, the innocent little ones, instead of feasting on the Christmas banquet that day, will be feasted on by the Yule cat.
That's amazing. That explains. But I don't know if you had this. Like when I went to Iceland, I thought I've got to be warm. I've got everything right. I was overdressed. I could have done the Antarctic in the midwinter and still been all right. I was over kind of layered. But then I remember going out and going to like a bar and a restaurant. Everybody was so stylish. And so I'm there stylish. In a kind of green, cagoule going, oh, God, I've really judged this wrong.
I'm with you because I went there, it was for my partner's birthday. And so we went to a really lovely restaurant. And you know what it's like? It's like about minus 15, 20 outside.
Yeah, minus 15 grand as well for the meal.
It was.
Yeah.
And we got a sort of taxi to where we were eating. But there's like a row of bars and restaurants. And we both dressed exactly as you described, like layers upon layers. We went in there.
T-shirt, cagoule, yeah.
The girls were in dresses. Like, they were wearing, like, bare legs with high heels. And Rachel was like, my God, I feel so underdressed. But they've got these marvellous clothes. So when they go back out again, they've put on basically duvet covers and they're fine again. Yeah,
when you go in, it looks like literally, as we mentioned earlier, a Prada ad, doesn't it?
It's like a Prada ad, absolutely.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, my God, I look like... Where's Wally?
Well, no, that's the thing, because Rachel was like, I just feel like I didn't share my legs because I'm just like wearing 2 pairs of jeans, it's so cold. Yeah, the Icelandic people really do know how to be stylish.
I wonder if this cat is to blame.
Well, I went into the history of it. It rather looks like it's a way of making parents, it's like a story passed down to make parents buy children their nice clothes for their children.
And the kids not go, oh, I've got clothes.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I like that.
So they go, well, I saved you from being eaten by the cat.
Right.
It's basically, in Victorian Britain, children are going to school without any shoes on. In Iceland in the 1700s, they're going in basically, as you say, Prada.
Yeah.
Because the Christmas cat would have eaten them, and the parents are very proud that they stopped their children being eaten by the Christmas cat.
You said it's humongous. Is there any kind of scale that is given?
Looking on my notes, it does say no. It just says
humongous.
It just says monstrously huge, and only appears on Christmas Eve. So monstrously huge. I'm going to say that's like a lion.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to say that because it's still got to be able to get in the house, really, hasn't it?
I think it does. Let me see if I can, in real time, work out how to pronounce it for you.
Okay. You've got to do it in the Sigur Rós high voice, though.
Okay, I'll get my computer to do it. You look adoring.
You look adoring. Dory or Doreen?
You look adoring.
You look adoring. You look adoring.
You look adoring.
You look adoring.
You look adoring.
In your new clothes.
In your new clothes. There you go. So that is a collection. None of them are particularly hard to look up. I haven't been... This isn't the normal level of research, the quantum mechanics. This is a gentle Christmas morning. If this is your first one to discover and you think those boys don't do any research, please don't review us. We definitely do. This is just for opening your presents.
This is us putting our feet up. I mean, to be honest, we've been so busy buying all the crap that we need to buy to keep all these evil spirits at bay. We haven't had time to research, have we?
Have you bought your kids present? Have you bought them clothes?
Bought one of them clothes. I haven't bought the other one. I'm going to have to get some clothes.
Even if it's socks.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, wow. That's amazing. And it was Christmassy, wasn't it? It was a Christmassy app.
It was a Christmassy app. If you know where you live, if you've got any Christmas traditions that are about dark animals and stuff, let us know and we'll include it in next year's one.
Yeah.
But we'll get the chatter going on our socials.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll be popping in on Christmas Day afternoon. If anyone's chatting on the socials, I'll absorb it. And, we'll enjoy it. And
obviously this is our last episode this year. Well, again, a widely available episode this year. Interestingly, the next step we've got, I've got something exciting that I've been working on regarding the TQM Tulpa project.
Oh, fantastic.
Something that might rekindle it and improve it, because we had that amazing story the other week. So that's inspired me to do a bit more research. So come back next week and listen to that, because it's, we're going to revitalise, we're going to pimp up the TQM Tulpa project to make Sherlock Holmes.
I'm really looking forward to
Tulpa.
this, because since that success that one of our listeners had,
amazing. Yeah,
I am very impressed. Also, I think I want to make sure that everybody who has been helping us out this year.
Yeah.
I know for those of you, this is a very boring list of names. I promise I'll be quick, but we couldn't have done it without them.
Before that, big thank you from both of us for everybody who's listened to us and continues to listen to us. We really appreciate it, especially, if you're liking, reviewing, and certainly Patreons. You can't believe how much you've helped us this year. You've enabled us to do a massive special, Halloween special, which we filmed. We've got new equipment that we've managed to do. We've had bits falling apart, and we've got new what do you call them? New leads and wires, and and we're going to buy some new mic stands as well as a little Christmas present to us, because ours are literally falling apart. So thanks all the Patreons. I think we should name them, don't you think, Ben?
I think so. As we go, this will be year 4 of doing this. So yes, Teresa Gunderson, Ross Evans, Susan Clark, Amy Monroe, Joe Jackson, not that one, Chakra Magnet, Ket, Ellen, my favourite name, Lagopus Scoticus.
Oh, what a great name.
Mark Burgum, Evan Diamond, Kate Purnell, and of course we couldn't have done a lot this year without the Lawmen, who are also a patron of ours.
Amazingly, thank you, Lawmen, for becoming a patron.
Yeah,
we really
thank
appreciate
you very much,
that.
James.
James, thank you so much for all the episodes you came on this year. It's just such good fun, isn't it, when we get James along and the Lawmen involved? It's
very much so. Yeah, hopefully there'll be more of those next year. We might go and watch the Standing Stones again next summer. It's becoming a thing.
Stonewatch 24.
Stonewatch 24.
But yes, thank you, Patreons. And if you're thinking about checking out Patreon, we're about a week ahead at the moment in terms of episodes. If you go to patreon.com/TQM pod, any help that you can give us is much appreciated. And thank you. Thanks you all for listening and whatever you've done for us this year. We do genuinely, it really touches our heart.
I don't think I could do this without all of the positivity and support we get. You're definitely a lovely lot of people.
Yes,
and,
definitely.
dragging my my computer and book buying out 52 times. Well, we do it half each, but I wouldn't be able to have the motivation if you guys weren't there. So thank you.
Definitely. So we hope you've all had a good Christmas or having a good Christmas, depending on when you're listening. And check us out on New Year's Day. Unless you're a patron and you'll check us out on Christmas. Oh, forget it. It's too much for my small brain to deal with. We'll see you next time on the
Go and check the turkey. I'll see you all later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Are you the quantum mechanics?